Okay, so I'm in my car, obviously on the way, and I am logged into a hotspot, and I didn't know if this was going to work or not work, but here we are. It's working. So, okay, so good morning, everyone. Let me go ahead and get this other view on here. Okay, perfect. So I can see everyone. And so one thing I wanted to bring up really quick, I don't know if you guys have noticed this or not, but that was the first, like, just live by myself that I've done. I could pick a frame, and I could pick the Thrive 123 frame. Did y'all know that? Was that in my old? Is this old news? No. Okay. Anyways, this morning it gave me the option of picking frames during my live, and so there were some like really cute ones and stuff like that. And then there was a Thrive 123 frame at the bottom. So I thought that was really awesome because that's what I was going to talk about anyways, wrapped around the other stuff that I was talking about. But I don't know. I hadn't seen that. So that was just something new. I don't know if you can do that with, like if you're bringing someone else on or not. I don't know if you can both pick a frame or not pick a frame, or I don't know. I'll have to try that and see. But I just thought that was really cool this morning as I popped on to do that. So 3 steps in your stories. Everybody has that, I'm sure by now. Birthdays. Let's take a couple of minutes and work on birthdays. We'll start with doing that, and then I'm going to go right into talking about what we're doing for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and then I'll have Candace pop on and kind of introduce what she did that brought on a lot of opportunities. So let's do birthdays for a few minutes first. Okay. Let's go ahead and one thing I wanted to talk about today, before I turn it over and have Candace kind of briefly go over what she's done for an opportunity that was pretty awesome, was your customer list inside of your cloud office. Today is the 21st. Tomorrow is actually when AutoShip is going to run. A part of my reach outs today, since I'm going to be in the car, is I'm going to go through my customer list and find some people that have not ordered, and do some communicating with those people just to kind of just because some of those people I haven't touched in a little bit. And I know Tiffany had us do that the other night on the Work With Me. But I had, I have a lot to go through. There's a lot of customer accounts in there that I haven't touched base with. So I'm going to kind of go back. And some of them I literally apologize for not having any idea of what I was doing whenever I got their account because they're that old. Some of mine are from like 2014. So, or just kind of different products that have came out since then, or just a hello, how are you touch base kind of thing. So that's part of what I'm going to be doing today. Also following up, I did most of my follow-ups yesterday with my customers that are having auto ship orders run tomorrow. And or anybody that I go into auto ship area, the report itself, and see if there were any failed auto ships. And sometimes I'll see some from other people. So I make sure and reach out to the people, like to the promoters, because not everybody looks at that report and say, hey, did you see so-and-so's auto ship failed? I wanted to make sure you saw it because, it just looks like her card was declined. I don't know if maybe her expiration date was bad or whatever. So that's an area that I spend some time in as well, because not everybody's on top of looking at that. So, so you want to do that. So I'm going to go ahead. So that's part of what I'm going to do today for my reach outs, just because, like I said, I'm going to be in the car. And then I'm going to go ahead and turn it over to Candace and have her explain a little bit about an opportunity that kind of came her way and how she did that. So Candace, I'm going to mute out and have you go ahead and do that for me.
So in the last couple of weeks, I've had quite a bit of cold messaging. So what I did was I made a list of everybody who has reached out to me and asked them if they wanted to be a part of a group event. So I created a group on Facebook and added each one of those people and then had them invite all of their friends. And I gave them a 2-hour time slot for them to post, go live, do a video, whatever they wanted to do. And then I've already had people ask me if we're going to do it again. So I'm setting one up again in a month. But everybody just basically invited their own friends. And then we were networking because all of my friends have seen me post about Thrive, but the people who were invited had never seen. So, and I did a couple of small businesses. My daughter actually does bows for babies, for baby girls. So I did that. So it wasn't all direct sales. My niece does wood burning. So I had her come in and do pictures of her wood burning that she does. So that way it wasn't everybody just direct sales. But I had a unique person. I had a CBD person. So like I focused mostly on the 3 steps and the Kids Thrive because I had someone else from Roden and Field. So they do skincare. So I tried to make it so everything was different. It wasn't all the same. And that's basically, but I had over 100 people in the group. So.
That's awesome. And so your next event, you'll have more than that because of course those same 100 people will be in it. So I don't know, we were driving last night and I thought about that and I was like, you know what? I bet you the new makeup girl that I'm using, I bet you she would be all over that. And she does a great job. And I like being friends with other network marketers because literally what she's done is she's popped me in her group. And of course there's all these makeup tutorials in there about how to apply this and this concealer and that concealer and this blah, 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 and, all these things, but it kind of gives you, some knowledge for what we could be doing, and so I thought of her, and then of course I have somebody that does Monet the person that does my hair does Monet. And so I was like, she would be all over that. And so you can think of different people, that maybe are small businesses, like she's saying, that you could, just see if there's an interest for it. And then everybody invite people to it, and so I think, or Pampered Chef, or, just kind of try to think about what you see in your news feed. And that might be an opportunity for you to open, like for instance, Jonathan does cups. So he could go in and do cups and, and I mean, he could do both, you know what I'm saying? And so that might be a great opportunity all the way around to feed both businesses, And so to me, that was a great idea. I know a lot of times we are fearful of network marketers because we're worried they're going to try to get people, but we're in different businesses, and so and I never know how long they're going to be in that business that they're in. You know, maybe I'm developing this relationship because maybe eventually they want to switch. I don't know, you know, what the deal is with that. But so I think that's a good opportunity to think about doing possibly. She told me about it, and she had 100 people in there. I'm like, wow, that's 100 people that you didn't have see your stuff before, is the way I thought about that, you know? And so to me, that's wonderful, you know? So that was an opportunity that I definitely wanted her to go over, because I thought that had a lot of potential. What are you guys doing today? What is your, I was thinking about themes only because in our car on the way, like my kids know all about 70s music just because that's what Joe has them listen to. It's literally playing right now. And so, no, it's okay. But so for me, that's throwback. You know, what's your favorite 70s song, or so that's probably how my post is going to go today for Facebook, like some sort of interactive, like what's your go-to, you're taking a road trip, like what station, you know, what genre of music do you listen to on your way, you know, or something, you know, like that, some sort of interactive like that. Of course, throwback can also be a before and after Thrive. It can be, you know, any of those things. We just want to make sure that we're not doing Thrive all day long on there, you know, that sort of thing. So, so that's going to be probably what mine is revolved around today. As goes, stories, if we go, and for me, it's repetitive to kind of go through and say, okay, now let's go to stories. Okay, now let's go to, you know, because I think everybody on here knows how to do their IPAs. I mean, there's no question. Everybody knows what to do or how to do their IPA, you know, their IPAs. What we're looking for in this group is kind of what we had yesterday, where there was some dialogue where somebody presented an idea that was working, you know, and somebody presented an idea for maybe something that didn't work, or, you know, what have you. So, so if you have an idea of where you're going today, by all means, pipe up and say something, you know, as far as what your strategy is, what your plan is, and then we can kind of help each other.
I know today our theme is Thirsty Thursday.
Awesome.
Because it's quarantine and you're homeschooling, and who doesn't want a drink after all of that? So it's definitely a Thirsty Thursday after the week we've been having.
Yeah. So what cocktail are you mixing, or what, you know?
Right. Well, and there's that thing out there with, you can make a blast margarita.
Have not seen that.
Girl, I've got to send it to you. It's amazing. We actually used Rich. He lives downstairs, and he's one of my promoters. And we did which one was it? The strawberry mango activate with an orange vanilla Captain. And it was with strawberries, and it was mixed berries with ice. Oh my gosh. It was like
the healthy margarita, or a healthy.
Yes. And you can do it with blast too.
The downer for the liquor and the upper for the activate. Like that's like a combo.
Well, didn't Lavelle Official actually have that on their
yes,
Instagram?
They actually posted for the blast.
At the very bottom it said, can add tequila.
Knew this.
On Lavelle Official, an Instagram, I believe it was.
They know.
Interesting. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Well, and kind of what I have been seeing is, it's funny because I've had all these conversations in the past few days, because I went to the post office to mail something and everything before we left. And that was the post guy. This has nothing to do with alcohol. But just squirrel brain over here. But the, what he was talking about is, he's like, I bet your sales are great right now. And he's like, you know, it's really, because he's kind of healthy anyways. I've tried to get him before and still working on him, but anyways, but he's like, everybody seems to be going to health. It's just so enlightening that everybody is so much more prioritized on that right now. So I think any education or information or anything that we can feed them right now, they're like gobbling it up. So I think it is important to do that. And even if if it's mental health, or if it's spiritual health, if it's, you know, what we do, you know, just any of those things, people are hungry for it, you know, because I think people learned a lot about themselves during this quarantine, if that makes sense. You know what I'm saying? Or like they had to kind of dig deep during this time and figure things out. And so a lot of people never had time to do that self-realization mode. And now they're in self-realization mode and they're like, holy, like I got to change. And a lot of them are ready for a change, you know? And so I think it's important. You got something to say?
Well,
Joe's raising his hand. Go ahead.
Pick me. I just with what Teresa's saying.
Can y'all hear him? Yeah. Okay.
With what Teresa's saying, I think because everybody's been, like she said, down and kind of in self-realization right now, when things start going back to what their normal was, I have a feeling there will be so many people that want to change what their reality was, that they'll want to, because they had this moment in time where everything was on pause and you're able to think, you know, because life is so hectic most of the time, you don't even have a second to think. Because of this quarantine, there's going to be so many people that are hungry for more or something new or something different. So all of us got to, you know, have that ability to step out and make sure we're the presenters of what they can be doing or go achieve.
Yeah, I agree with that. And and here's why. Just because that's kind of...
Evidently, I speed when I talk. So
he speeds. Okay. That's kind of been a reality at my house because, I mean, just being real and raw with you, my son Pearson was out of work for like a month. And like literally I watched him go through for about a week, like some anxiety and depression and all these things because he had to go back to work. You know what I mean? And it's like, so there's that self-realization that like, man, do I really like what I do? Or do I really like, you know what I'm saying? I mean, like, so I think there is a lot of, that's why I'm reading the anxiety book. So it's like one of those things, you know, that you don't realize people are going through and they're going through. So I think it is important. And if we kind of throw that out there, then it's something that they may receive. You just never know, you know? And so I think the opportunity is there. And that's why it made me think about the opportunity that Candace, you know, had. I was like, what can we do? Because we can't have events yet without, you know, having only 10 people. What can we do to get a big bunch of people? You know what I mean? And so I think that's a really cool idea. And each of you can be the Lavelle person in your group, you know, and whatever else it is that you do. And so, because we all know that we can bring value to the table, and that's, you know, kind of a big deal. So, let's talk about referrals. And I think what you were wanting to talk about was like thriving for free. Yes. Yes. Okay. And so let's toss around some ideas of what we do to plant the seed for thriving for free. I know I try to kind of plant, I don't lead with thriving for free, to be honest. And the reason is because I feel like sometimes whenever I've done that in the past, like when I'm talking to them about the product and talking to them about the price, and the first thing I throw out there is, but we can, you know, I can help you thrive for free. I feel like that's devaluing what we're doing. In other words, I'm saying to you, well, that's too expensive. I know it's too expensive, so I can help you get it for free. Does that make sense? Because I don't think it's too expensive. Like, to me, that's a mindset thing because I did that for a little while. And I don't want to come off like that. I mean, that's a perk. I would pay for it whether I mean, everybody on here, obviously, if you weren't thriving for free, would you still be using the product? Yes. So for me, so we have the value built in. So for me, it's building in that value. And the bonus part is that we can help your friends feel amazing and thrive for free too. So I do want to say that because I have made that mistake before where I've completely led with thriving for free. And do you know how hard it is to get somebody that's never used the product to give you referrals to help them thrive for free for the first month? Does that make sense? Right?
I agree with that as well. It also kind of pushes them away because somebody that hasn't had the product in their body yet or experienced it they automatically think that you're getting them to sell the product.
Yeah.
So it's almost like putting the cart before the horse. So you really, I mean, because we know, right? But they don't. So I think, and of course, I've, definitely had to change my approach on this as well. But, it's like we have to slowly bring that in. Like, our first and foremost is getting them on the product and really, really, really getting them to verbalize what they're experiencing. Tell me what you're loving about the product. I really think that has helped me with, after they've ordered, after they're loving it, I try to get them on a phone call so I can have them verbalize. Obviously not all the time will you do that, but sometimes it's in text, but I will, say, tell me a couple things that you are loving about your Thrive experience. So they're now, of course, verbalizing it. And then, again, at that point, I'm still not saying, well, you can Thrive for free, but you kind of have to learn to, read each individual person, and then really just kind of, you kind of know already when they purchased whether they've got money or not. And so you kind of, for me, I will come, at that person and say, hey, your auto ship is going to be coming out. Don't forget, I'd love to help you Thrive for free. Do you have anybody that that can benefit from those same things that you're benefiting from? So again, listening more instead of talking. And that's something I've had to work on because, I'm a talker. So that's a self-development thing I'm working on. And so, yeah, I said, again, that's just really something that I've been working on.
Yeah, I agree. I think planting the seed, I have people that are having their second auto ship, they're on their second month and they're not thriving for free yet. Because it's super important for me to get them to love the product first, and so, because otherwise it feels salesy. Like I'm back into that feeling salesy mode if I keep driving them to give me referrals, that sort of thing. Sometimes they'll reach out to you first and say, hey, remember you said something about thriving for free? Like, tell me more about that. And then I'm like, oh, well, awesome. Tell me some things that you're, I know you're feeling this and I know you're feeling this because I already know those things because I've already been talking to them about it. What do you think about making a post and maybe just showing your DFT and explaining, and saying something about feeling like this and this, and let's just see where we go with that, And so that's kind of sometimes my way to introduce doing the post. Cause I know, like, for instance, okay, I just got this new makeup, using this new makeup. If that girl went in and said, hey, I'll post everything about your makeup, show a tutorial, blah, 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 and then tag 2 friends, I probably would have nothing to do with it. You know what I mean? And so, can y'all still hear me? I can't tell.
Yes. You're cutting in and out a little bit, but. Anyone else have any ideas while she's?
I kind of been using reverse psychology on them. Like I will literally reach out to them knowing that they're feeling a difference because I can see what they're posting and what they're doing, and like I take notes when I do their calls and stuff, so I know where they're at and where they're going. And then I'll reach out to them and say, hey, you know what? You're on your day 3. Like, what are you noticing any different? Probably nothing, right? And they're like, well, I did this or I did that. And I'm like, oh, you're still not like lounging on the couch? Like you used to do that. And I'll like throw it back at them to where they have to acknowledge it. And then I'm like, hey, didn't you say like your mom had the same issue or your sister had the same issue? Like when you're building the relationship, you learn about their family. So when you're learning about that, you know that they could use it. So when you reverse it on them and say like, hey, remember when you were telling me your mom had like joint discomfort and all this other stuff? Like, don't you think she has the right to feel as awesome as you do right now? And then they're kind of like, well, yeah, because they're not going to tell you no. like they want the best for their loved ones. And when they say yes, that's when I'm like, hey, why don't you just grab me her email and stuff, and let's talk to her so that you can tell mom what is happening with you, and I'll vouch for you and see if she wants to join the journey with you. And you're halfway to getting your products for free without even realizing that they're getting product for free. I try not to bring it up. I just try to like throw it back on them and use reverse psychology at this point.
Very smart.
I mean, people are stubborn. That's the problem. Like when I first started, I was all about, well, you can get it for free. You can get it for free. And then they would like blow me off. So I finally got to the point where I was like, all right, well, when I was little and I didn't want to do something and I was stubborn and bullheaded, what did my mom do to me? My mom would always use reverse psychology. Like, oh, okay, you want some ice cream? Take a couple more bites of your dinner and I'll give you your ice cream. Right? So now I kind of do that to my customers. I'm like, well, give me a couple more referrals and then you can have your reward, which is thriving for free. So I just use stuff that my mom used to do to me. And I'm like, she tricked me a lot, but by God, I ate my vegetables.
One thing I can say that I have done is, and I think I mentioned this on a Zoom before, that I had a new customer when she was asking about the Black Label, and I told her, I said, I can definitely give you some to experience before you purchase it. Why don't you, again, in the conversation, like, hey, I had explained to her she can get 2 referrals, but I told her, I said, look, if you haven't been able to, get anybody solid, just at least, maybe just share it and give me some emails and maybe try to connect me with them. And I would go that route and tell her that I can give her like $10 per email, so every person that you connect me with, whether they purchase or not, she'll get $10 in credit. So if she gives me 5, free account or emails, and then connects me with them, whether it be in a message clip or gives me their phone number and I connect with them personally, or she gets me on a 3-way call, then she's going to automatically, whether they purchase or not, get that $50 in credits or $10 per email. So that's another option. Again, it's just knowing that they're going to get something out of at least giving you the email, regardless if they order or not.
That's a good idea, Denise, because then it keeps them thriving because they've got credits and then they'll want to order, and then then time, just listening to them. And like you said, time, and everybody has their own timing. So you'll get them eventually.
Yes. And what I've been doing this just recently, well, I've done it before, but I've struggled with PPA this month and I still have credits. So instead of just telling somebody I'm going to buy their month with all my credits, I'm going to customers that are still thriving with me, but aren't thriving for free. And I'm just reaching out to them and said, hey, of course, checking on them with the relationship, but then, hey, listen, I just threw $25 in credits into your account, and I just want to thank you for being an awesome customer. Don't forget, I'd still love to help you thrive for free if you happen to have anybody. But again, just thank you for continuing to thrive with me. And it's just a gesture, which you can do that with product. But I've got extra credits right now. And, people are like, oh my gosh, thank you. And then they come back and say, hey, listen, I'm going to call you later. I've got so-and-so. So it's just kind of being in that relationship with them, and always customer service, you guys. I said this in our group, word of mouth, customer service is great, but word of mouth marketing and advertising is 100% the best. So that comes in, and this, Susie, is, customer service. People are going to refer you for buying,
Yep.
And their realtor. People are going to refer you when somebody's interested in Thrive. Somebody's going to refer you if, whatever it is with my massage business, people are going to refer me my customer service and my, so word of mouth, customer service is key, guys.
Yep, my mom had her shop for 26 years, never advertised, was word of mouth. So yep, it definitely works. We just have to open our mouth. Back road.
Was it me that was talking about that? It cut out. Do you have them tag people when they post?
I do. I have people, if they're going to post something, I definitely have them tag me because I want to be able to help them and kind of guide them and teach them, because I'm teaching my customers how to promote without them knowing. Like if they're comfortable with doing a post, I want to see if somebody's coming in and saying, hey, what is Thrive? What is that sticker? What is this? And then I'm messaging them privately and say, you know, don't throw up on a message, just say, I'll PM you. And I literally am walking them through that whole process on the back end. And I mean, even verbally what to say and text to their people.
And do you have them, you don't have them tag people in the post, you just have them tag you in the post? Yeah, see, I'm funny about that. Like, I don't like to be tagged in a post, so I'm funny about that. Do you write a fill in the blank post or let them or feel the person out doing it?
Do you write a fill in the blank post?
Froze again. You can unmute if you want and just say it. Easier.
Good morning. So do you ever have people say, I don't know what to say? Well, they know how they feel, but do you, when they do the post, do you write it for them and just give them a kind of like a template, or do you just, because I know we have to be compliant, right? So
yes. And so, yeah. And so if they say that they don't know what to say or whatever, then I just kind of give them an idea. Actually, if I already know how feeling, what it's done for them, that sort of thing, then I'm always just like, well, you know what? Why don't you hold a picture of Dallas and have your DFT showing and talk about how great you slept last night, even though, you know, Dallas has all this stuff going on. You know what I'm saying? And so I kind of lead it in that way. You know all the answers.
yeah.
It's just the confidence thing. Isn't it funny how that works? It's funny, but it's true. And so they do the same thing. They overthink, and then they're fearful of what they're trying to say. And all you're saying is, number one, you're telling the truth. This is how you slept last night. You're holding your baby, and you're having to have your DFT.
Yeah, she's kind
of give them an eye zone for them. I'm sorry. Am I there again?
Yeah.
Okay. Sorry. There's bridges. I'm probably going to cut out again. Okay.
I just have them make a statement, you know.
Okay.
Go ahead, Teresa. I think you're back.
Okay. I'm going past Savannah, so I'm waving at Jessica right now as I'm going past Savannah. That's why I'm glitchy, but at any rate, one thing I read this morning, or I heard this morning, it was an audio. It was about how many no's have you gotten lately? You know, like how many jabs have we thrown out there, or right hooks have we thrown out there, and how many no's have we really got? I can honestly say I haven't gotten many. I'm doing a crap ton of relationship building, but I haven't thrown a right hook to some. I need to throw more right hooks, and I need to go there. You know, and so I can't even get a no unless I ask, right? So I have found myself falling into relationship, and then fearful about when to throw the right hook. Just throw the right hook, you know? So that's just one thing I thought about this morning, because as I was listening about no's, I was like, well, dang, how many have I got myself lately? You know, because I always take it back to me, you know, as far as what do I have going on, like, you know? So that's something, you know, to think about as far as what you've got, you know, and that's a fear thing. So if we're leading with fear, and Susie had me on a call yesterday, and that was one of the first questions the lady asked was, you know, how much is it? You know, she asked a question because she's in Canada, about whether there was an exchange rate. Did they have a warehouse in Canada? And she was worried about logistics first, and then she was worried about how much it was. And I very boldly was like, well, first I built value and told her what it was. And then I flat out, like, I got no problem with telling somebody how much it is, as long as I've built value in on the front end. And she was like, oh, okay. So it's almost, you know, around $200 Canadian, you know? And I was like, yeah, I think that's the exchange. I don't remember, you know? And then of course I started talking about Saskatchewan. So because I knew that. So, but like, have confidence with saying, you know, with it, because you believe in what it is and you would order it yourself without, you know? And so that's something I think a lot of people get stuck in, is being scared to death somebody's going to ask them how much it is, you know? And also assuming that they don't have enough money to pay for it. I know I've been guilty of that, where I'll be watching them on Facebook and the things that they're posting. And could you turn that up anymore?
Listen, if we missed the road.
But I've been guilty about that. You know, I'm watching all these things, or I'm watching them go through quarantine. I know they're not working, and God forbid they ask me how much it is. No, because right now, of all the times, they're prioritizing their health. So I'm super proud of how much it is, you know? Did you miss it? We missed it. Okay. I am going to go ahead and get off of here now, because I feel like I need to. But, okay. So, if you need anything, I am in the car. I have my phone the whole time. I am not unplugging. I will take lots of pictures of things and all that kind of good stuff, but I'll be working the whole time. So, that's the beautiful thing. So, if you need me, contact me by all means. And I did not talk about work with me on Sunday night with you guys. I think it's your turn, Denise. Is it? No. I'll talk to them and see whose turn it is.
I'm usually I think it's either, I think it's Heather's turn.
Might be Heather. Okay, I'll communicate with Heather and see.
You, Heather, Carrie, me.
Okay. Okay. I'll get with her and see. And otherwise tomorrow, if you want to do a work with me, there will be Leanne's. We have not been collaborating together on that one, so that one's completely up to you. But if you have anything or you need anything, I'm here. Okay.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye, guys.
Ciao.